Hi everyone. We'll get going with Yin in just a minute or so here. So for Yin, it really helps to have some music since we are holding the poses for a little bit longer and I can't play it, otherwise I get restricted from posting some things. So either go to Pandora and just play some yoga music or yoga nidra music. Even if there's a Yin Yoga playlist, sometimes those are a little harder to find. Same thing on Spotify. There's a lot of good stuff out there, even if it's just some type of chill instrumental beats or relaxing spa music. Either one will help with Yin. So tonight we're going to start just coming into a comfortable seated position with legs crossed, however is comfortable for you. Bringing hands to the knees, beginning to close those eyes. Allowing that spine to be straight, those shoulders to fall down. Just beginning to lengthen that breath, just checking in with that breath first. Taking those deep breaths in and exhaling it out. Beginning to allow that chest and belly to expand as you inhale. And allow the belly to come back into the spine as you exhale. Checking in with that mind, body, and heart. Seeing what sensations you're feeling in this body tonight. What emotions are coming up for you right now? What thoughts are running through your head? And not placing any judgment on any of this, just observing. Allowing yourself to begin to come present right here on this mat. Beginning to imagine roots coming from your sit bones through the floor into the earth. Like a tree, starting to feel them round in and get that stability. Visualizing this, focusing on that breath, allowing yourself this moment to just be. Letting the worries of the day and the week pass. Letting any anxiety of the future go. Just being here. And then dropping right ear to right shoulder. Eyes can stay closed. Allowing this gentle stretch for the neck. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale that head over heart. Take the left ear to left shoulder. And breathe into that right side of that neck. Deep breath in, and then exhale, head to center, keeping chin to chest. Sending the breath to the back of that neck. Inhale, bringing the head up and allowing it to fall back. Mouth can open for added ease. Getting this counter stretch here for so much that we're doing on our electronics. And then bringing head back to center. Roll those shoulders back. Roll them forward. Then extend that right leg out in front of you, keeping the sole of that left foot into the right thigh. And we're going to keep hands centered, taking a deep breath in. exhale, begin to walk it forward, knowing that you may not come very far, depending on how tight those hamstrings are. Wherever you are, find some ease and settle in. Breathing here to our first deep pose for this practice. Just beginning to continue to check in with that mind, body, and heart, and thinking of an intention for your practice this hour. Maybe it's something you're looking to find. Maybe it's something you're looking to release. Knowing that no matter what it is, whatever is needed will come to you. And taking a deep breath in, exhale, sigh it away. Continuing to ground here. And knowing that many of us may be feeling upset and angry and anxious, maybe even spacey or frustrated with the situation that's taking place right now. And knowing that we get like that from time to time, even when we aren't required to stay at home. Allowing yourself to feel that and acknowledge that, but also allowing yourself to realize it may be time to find some grounding. Half a moment left here. Keep breathing. Is there anything else you can release right here? Taking 2 more breaths in. And then slowly start to walk it back up. Bringing hands behind and just looking back for a second. And then coming back up to that straight back. This time turning to face that right leg that's extended long, making sure that foot is flexed so the toes are pointed to the ceiling. Taking another deep breath in. Exhale, begin to fold over that right leg. Maybe even bringing that left arm to the outside of the right leg. Dropping those shoulders, even if it means walking those hands back closer to the body. And breathing here. So when we hear the word grounded, sometimes we can even think back to when we were kids and we were grounded and sent to our rooms. And there are some similarities to that with grounding in yoga. When we were sent to our rooms, we were supposed to not be doing anything. We're supposed to be thinking about the moment and why we were there. And in a sense, that's the same. When we ground, we come back to the present. We're coming back to that stability. Only it's no longer a punishment. Now we do it to make us feel better. Just another moment here. Continuing to take those deep breaths in and out. Is there anything you can soften? Maybe it's those shoulders. Maybe it's that back. As we continue to breathe into these hamstrings, 2 more breaths here. And slowly starting to walk it back up. Taking that right hand to the left knee and twisting out to the left. Just for our counter stretch here. And then coming back to center. We're going to keep that left leg parallel, bending that right knee back and taking the bottom of that left foot to the thigh of that right leg. Setting up for our deer pose to work into these hips, knowing you can always take and extend that right leg all the way back into pigeon. Taking a deep breath in here, and then exhaling, walking it out forward. You can also walk it out over the knee or even completely out to the left side. Checking in with your body and what you need today. Knowing that it's different each day. Knowing that it could be different from just an hour before. Releasing into these hips. Releasing so many emotions that we keep stored here. Giving yourself permission to be present. Giving yourself permission to move if it's too much for you right now. Finding some ease and then settling back in. Giving yourself permission to stay here in this moment with this breath. Letting all of the other thoughts go. Less than half of a moment left. Keep breathing. Taking one more deep breath right here. And then pushing those hands into the floor, coming up. If in that pigeon, tuck those toes, raise that hip, kick it out. Otherwise, we're going to bring both legs in front bent, swishing knees side to side in those wiper blades just to work that out. And then bringing the bottoms of the soles together. The closer the feet come in, the more you're going to feel this in those inner thighs. The further away, the more ease you will have finding where you need this, knowing you can always sit on a blanket or a pillow to bring the knees down. You can also always add blankets underneath those knees if you like, making this yours. Once finding your pose, taking a breath in, then hinging at the hips and then folding forward. Breathing here. Beginning to replace the thought of grounding as instead of being a punishment, instead being permission. Permission to be present. Giving yourself this time right now. And just seeing, where do you feel this in your body? Knowing that as we're checking in with this body and these sensations, it's helping us stay in the moment. Are you feeling this in your inner thighs? Maybe in that low back. Knowing that there's no wrong place to feel this. Wherever you do feel it is where you need to. Just another moment here. Is there anything you can soften? Anywhere you can send the breath to give you ease? Half a moment left. You can do this. Allowing that breath to fill you up with positive energy. Allowing your exhales to release anything that no longer serves you. And taking one more deep breath in. Slowly start to come up, bringing the soles of the feet back to the ground and walking those out to your mat width distance, bringing the knees together for a counter stretch here. Just taking a few breaths here. Feeling this maybe in the outsides of our legs and those IT band areas. And then starting to heel toe those feet back together, extending that left leg out long, bringing the sole of that right foot to the inside of that left leg, taking a deep breath in, and then beginning to fold out in front, knowing again you may not go very far depending on how tight those hamstrings are. Don't place the judgment there, just breathe. Allow your body this deep stretch that it needs. as we work into our ligaments and our tendons and our fascia. So many of our other activities don't get that deep, but our yin does. And it helps us begin to stay present. It's that practice for that grounding. You're halfway there. Keep breathing. The mind starts to wander, you can always start to visualize those roots again. Continuing to grow through your sit bones and into the earth. Continuing to get stronger and wider. Making you feel as stable as possible. Just half a moment left here. Allowing that breath to fill you up. Taking one more deep breath right here. And then slowly start to come back up. Bringing hands back, head back. And then coming back up with that straight back. Turning out to face that long left leg. Toes are flexed. Taking a deep breath in and then exhale, walk it forward. Bringing that right hand to the outside of that left leg. And as we continue to work on grounding and getting present, knowing that we're taking the focus away from any distress in that moment. So many of our worries tend to be about the future and the what ifs. So if we can let those go and just stay here in the now, we can see that distress fade away. Lowering those shoulders away from those ears, even if it means those hands walk back further. Sending the breath to where you feel this. Maybe it's the hamstring on the back of that left leg. And if possible, turning that focus inward. Continuing to see what emotions come up for you. Knowing that there's nothing wrong with whatever comes up, if anything does come up. And there's no need to get carried away with it. Just acknowledge it. And let it pass. Less than a moment left here. Keep breathing. Only got half a moment left. Taking one more deep breath right here. And then slowly start to come up. Taking that left hand to the outside of the right knee and just giving yourself a little twist back. And then coming back to center. Keeping that right leg parallel. Taking that left leg back. Taking the bottom of that right sole to the top of that left thigh. Or again, you can always extend that back left leg into pigeon. Setting up for that deer on this side. Taking a deep breath in. And then beginning to exhale out wherever you need to, whether it's in the front, over the knee, or even out to that right side. Finding where you need to be and then settling in, knowing you're never stuck. Just trying to find that edge, never going beyond it, never wanting to hurt or feel pain. We're getting deep into these poses to release that stress from our bodies. There's no need to cause more. Focusing on that breath still. And Anodea Judith wrote, if we can still our reactions to some aspects of a vicious cycle, we are then able to step out of that cycle. And when I read that, I definitely thought of, if we're able to still the mind when it starts to get carried away, we can stop that anxiety. We can begin to calm our breath and calm our mind. Taking one more breath right here. And then slowly walking it back up, bringing those feet out in front again and taking those knees from side to side in those wiper blades. And then from here, making our way to a tabletop position. So bringing hands under shoulders, knees under those hips, and arching that back up. And then inhaling, dropping that belly and bringing that head and heart forward. Then exhale, arch that back. Inhale, belly down, head and heart forward. Doing these cat-cow stretches here to your own breath. Doing just two more. And then when ready, making your way down all the way onto the mat. Extending that right arm out long. Pushing into the floor with that left and rolling onto the right side. Maybe even using a pillow or blanket as support under your head. Knowing that top leg can stay stacked, it can stay bent in front or even come behind. That front hand can stay grounded, or it can go long on the body or even fall behind. Once getting into your pose that you need, settling in. And knowing that we can take these grounding practices off the mat as well. So much like we're practicing staying present, coming back to that breath, giving yourself this quiet time on this mat. We can do that any time of day, anytime that we need to. And maybe it's not coming to our mat, but maybe it's giving ourselves a quiet 5 minutes. Maybe it's finding a 2 or 10-minute meditation. Knowing that much like we're never stuck in our poses, we never have to be stuck in that feeling of distress. Less than a moment left here. Continuing to focus on that breath. Maybe sending into the shoulders where we're working right now. And taking one more deep breath right here. If that arm is bent behind, bringing it back in front. If that leg is bent, bringing it back and rolling onto the belly. And from here, extending that left arm out. Pushing into the floor and coming on to that left side of the body this time. Doing what you need to do with those legs, with that front arm. Getting the shoulder stretch for the opposite arm. Embracing the stillness. So many of us have been on the go for so long that we struggle being still. Allowing yourself this time to practice that. Knowing that our bodies need to be still, especially in these poses, to work deep into that fascia. But our minds need to be still too. And exercising that stillness here in our yin. Just another moment here. When that mind starts to wander, because it always will, coming back to that breath. Coming back to those sensations in the body. And you have half a moment left here. Is there anything else you can release in these shoulders, in this untied knot? Taking one more deep breath right here. And then wherever you're at, bringing those legs to stack, bringing that right arm down and coming back to that belly. Beginning to push those hands into the mat. As we begin to move into either our Sphinx or our watching TV pose, so keeping those elbows underneath the shoulders. If we're in Sphinx, those ankles can come closer together for more compression in the low back, or further apart for some ease. If we would like to move into that watching TV pose, we're going to bend those elbows and gently hold our chin in our hands, bending those legs and maybe crossing those feet. Seeing what we need, whether it's that Sphinx, whether it's that watching TV pose. Knowing no matter which one, we are getting that deep, deep compression for that low back. Knowing we have options when it comes to grounding. Maybe focusing on that breath just isn't working. You can always find something that helps soothe ourselves, that helps bring us joy, helps you stay in the moment. And just taking this time to think what that may be. Because we're halfway there in this pose. Maybe it's taking a few moments in quiet and drinking a cup of tea. Maybe it's listening to some soothing music. Or petting an animal. Maybe your cat or dog. Maybe it's even taking a bath. Knowing these are just suggestions. Only you can know by going within to know what is best to soothe you. Half a moment left here. You can do this. Take 2 more deep breaths. And then bringing those legs down. If they're in watching TV pose, bringing those hands down, pushing those hands into the floor, and bringing those hips back to heels into that child's pose. Extending arms out long in front or alongside the body. Making sure those knees are wide and toes are together. Breathing here. Knowing that we come to this child's pose so often in our yoga. And it is a relaxing, calming pose. The pose itself can even help relieve anxiety. Continuing to put the focus on the breath. Observing those thoughts and letting them pass. Seeing if there's anything else that you can let go of and release. Right here, right now. Halfway there. Maybe inhaling something positive each time. Then exhaling your worries. Less than a moment to go. Can you soften anywhere? Through those shoulders. Through that back. Can you deepen on the exhale? One more breath right here. Then slowly start to come back up into that tabletop position, swinging legs around and bringing them out in front. Taking the legs a few inches apart from each other, not too far. We're going to bend those knees, hug those thighs, and then slowly start to lower the legs back down, knowing that they're not going to come all the way down. As we're setting up for our caterpillar pose, getting a little bit deeper stretch here for this low back. And once we find our spot, just breathing here. Knowing we can always also come back to that visualization for grounding. Continuing to imagine those roots coming from our sit bones into the earth. Strengthening down. And like a tree with its roots, when the wind comes, it doesn't move. It is stable. So as we continue to practice this grounding, knowing that when hard things come at us, we can be stable. We don't need to let the worries and the negativity knock us down. Just another moment here. Can you soften those shoulders? Can you sink a little deeper on that exhale? Only going to your edge, never beyond. Half a moment left. Taking 2 more breaths right here. And then slowly start to release that grip from under your thighs, coming back up, taking those hands behind you, pointing those toes and allowing that head to fall back. Just a little counter stretch right here. And then coming back up. Bending those knees, holding on to those thighs and slowly lowering all the way down onto the mat. Extending legs out long. Arms overhead, rolling on to that left side. Extending that right leg out in front. Bending that back bottom leg. Seeing if we can hold on to that foot, knowing you may not be able to, and that is completely fine. And then allowing the body to fall down, head coming down, keeping that left shoulder grounded. Knowing that we're getting a deep stretch here into that extended right leg's IT band. We're getting a deep stretch into this back bottom left leg's quadricep, the front of that thigh. Breathing here in our cat pulling tail pose. We're even getting a mild compression for that low back. Continuing to breathe here. Knowing that as we begin to practice this grounding, decisions become easier. We can release those worries. We can release that indecision. We can go with how we feel in the present moment. Sending the breath to wherever you need it, knowing it could be several places in this pose. So much going on in this twist. You only have a moment left. And you can always come back to that breath. Is there any place you can find some ease? Less than half a moment here. Taking one more breath. Then if holding on to that back leg, letting that grip go, allowing that knee to straighten out and coming on to that back body. Maybe hugging knees into chest, adding a little rock on that back. And then extending legs out long again. This time, extending that right arm overhead, pushing into the ground and rolling over to the right side. Extending that top left leg out in front, bending and seeing if you can hold on to that foot or pant leg maybe of that right leg, and then allowing the head to come down. Breathing here into our cat pulling tail pose on this side. And as we ground, the worries about the future rescind. We learn to enjoy the present moment even more. Halfway there. Seeing if there's anything else you can release in this pose, in this body, in this mind. Just another moment left here. Half a moment left. Taking 2 more deep breaths right here. And then if you're gripping onto that back foot and letting it go, allowing it to straighten out and coming back onto the back body. Hugging those knees into the chest. Giving yourself a little rock on that back. And then allowing the legs to come out long, setting up for that final relaxation. Legs coming out wide on the mat. Arms coming alongside the body, palms facing up to the ceiling. As you begin to feel completely grounded here in this mat, beginning to release and relax from toes to crown. We begin to release through those toes and the spaces between them. Through the bottoms and tops of these feet. We release through ankles, shins, and calves. Relaxing all parts of these knees. We release through the quadriceps, hamstrings, and all parts of these thighs. Relaxing through the pelvic bone and hips and glutes. This lower body sinks deeper into the mat. We release through the abdomen and the back, the low back, mid back, and upper back are cradled here in this mat. We release through the chest, lungs, and heart. Relaxing through these hands. We release through the fingers and webbing between them. Through the palms and tops of the hands. We release through the wrists and forearms. Relaxing all parts of these elbows. We release through the upper arms and shoulders. Relaxing this neck and head. We release all facial muscles. The tongue falls to the bottom of the mouth, lips part slightly, and cheeks hollow. We relax through the forehead and scalp. This whole body sinks deeper into the mat and is grounded. We release from roots to crown. We surrender. Keeping eyes closed, we slowly begin to awaken this body, wiggling fingertips and toes, allowing wrists and ankles to rock, gently allowing the head to rock from side to side. And then bringing feet together, knees to chest, hugging the knees in, adding a rock on that back. And rocking over to a fetal position on our right side, using arms as pillows. Checking in with that mind, body, and heart one more time this practice. Checking back in with that intention you set at the beginning of practice. And checking back in with that grounding one more time. Knowing you can always come back to this present moment. Then keeping eyes closed, pushing hands into the floor, making your way to a comfortable seat, bringing hands to prayer pose at heart center. Thinking of one more thing you can release right now. And keeping that in mind, we'll take a deep breath in. Exhale, sigh it away. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to guide you through a yin practice this evening. The light shining from me reflects the light shining from each and every one of you. Namaste.